Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for giving me a chance to contribute to this King's Speech debate today at such an early point in it. It's a pleasure to follow the Honourable Gentleman for Harrow West, and I want to express strong support for what he said about the government's determination, the whole of Parliament's determination to crack down on anti-Semitism. And I hope that he will have carried everyone in this House in the words that he used. It's a great pleasure also to congratulate the honourable members for Bradford West and for Harlow on their brilliant speeches today, which entertained and amused the House. The honourable gentleman for Harrow West said it was an honour to be in the same party as both of them, but I think all of us can say it's an honour to be in the same parliament as both of them, and they certainly did very well. I have to admit, Madam Deputy Speaker, that it is now 34 years since in 1992 I had the privilege of seconding the Queen's speech from over there. On that occasion, Madam Deputy Speaker, I referred to myself as an oily young man on the make. Those were the days.
I was an old man.
Those were the days, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Oily old man.
Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, there are 3 points I wish to contribute briefly to the debate. 3 points that came off the doorsteps in the royal town of Sutton Coldfield during these recent elections, where I was listening very carefully to my constituents. Elections, incidentally, which were extremely successful for the Conservatives in the royal town of Sutton Coldfield, where we held now all 10 seats on Birmingham City Council, having got rid of the last vestiges of the Labour Party in the royal town. That clean sweep in the royal town of Sutton Coldfield was not echoed across the city of Birmingham, where there are now 6 significant parties represented on the council, making governance even more difficult than it was before. And I urge the Treasury bench, and in particular the Secretary of State for the Environment and Local Government, to be on red alert about what happens now in the city of Birmingham. They are, I think, going to need to give the commissioners far greater powers. There are vulnerable people, old and young, who depend upon Birmingham City Council turning a page and becoming a more effective giver of good local governance. And the words of the Conservative leader of the Conservative group on the Birmingham City Council, Robert Alden, are important. He said, and I quote, "We'll try to work with people across the political spectrum to try and deliver these priorities." Now, Birmingham has languished under a profoundly inadequate Labour administration, which even the Labour Party nationally did not think was doing a proper job. And it will now require a Herculean effort of restraint and goodwill to deliver the governance the people of Birmingham are entitled to receive. This will involve, I think, also devolving more power locally. Governance is always best when it is closest to the people it seeks to serve. And certainly for the Royal Town of Sutton Coldfield's Town Council, under its outstanding leader, Simon Ward, we are ready for more devolution, and we think that will make life better for local people. The second point I want to make is about defence, because I think although the words are in the King's speech, there is an awful lot more that needs to be done. And Ukraine and President Trump have ushered in a new era on defence. And thank goodness, incidentally, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the last Conservative government was so fast to realise and arm and train the Ukrainians ahead of and during the early days of the illegal invasion by Russia. And the Prime Minister complains, he may or may not have some justice in that, he complains that the armed forces have been hollowed out over many years by both parties. But it is on his watch, that these acute problems have come to pass. George Robertson, respected on both sides of this House over very many years, has made it very clear that we must now rearm, we must increase our spending on defence, and I very much hope the government will provide far more urgency than they are providing at the moment to this cause. President Trump was not the first person to complain about Europe failing to pull its weight financially in NATO, but he is the first American president to take action, and Britain needs to step up. We need to lead European NATO with France and Germany, but also with Poland and cooperation with Ukraine, whose technology has redefined modern warfare. Australia and Canada are significantly increasing their spending, and I hope very much that the government will now, as I say, entertain far greater urgency in addressing these matters. I'm pleased to see that Gordon Brown is now at the heart of this Labour government, so I hope that he will explain the importance of soft power being the other side of the defence coin. There are many honourable ladies and gentlemen on the other side of the House who are experts on defence, and they know that the government made a terrible mistake in cutting further the amount that we spend on development. Development is a very important arrow in the defence quiver, and I hope very much indeed that Gordon Brown will be able to explain to the government why this is so important and why they have made such a mistake. Now, the third and final point I want to make, Madam Deputy Speaker, is about welfare. Welfare is now consuming every penny we raise in income tax, and we simply cannot go on like this. The government always appears to be caught in the headlights whenever welfare is discussed, and the last time they sought to tackle this issue, they were unable to carry their backbenches, and they failed to do so. And I submit that they failed to do so because they tackled it in the wrong way. And there are three rules of welfare reform, as I learnt many years ago as a junior welfare minister in John Major's government when I was a minister between 1995 and 1997. That may be 30 years ago, but the rules of welfare reform have not changed. It was, Madam Deputy Speaker, the most complex of the various ministerial jobs it was my privilege to undertake. And this is what I learnt. The first of all, you cannot take benefit money off poor people. It isn't right to do so anyway, and as constituency members of Parliament, we know that it cannot be done. None of us came into politics to make poor people poorer, and taking money off the poorest people is not something which anyone who's planning to reform welfare should entertain. Secondly, the only way to save on welfare is to freeze benefits, though not disability benefits, something I believe that no Conservative government has ever done. But by freezing benefits, you are able to make a very significant difference in the size of the budget. I give way, of course.
I thank the honourable gentleman for giving way. Rather than attack the most vulnerable in our society to pay for the nation's defence, why would the member not agree that it would be better to tax the banks and the large multinationals for their extravagant profits?
Well, I'm very worried that the honourable gentleman, who is also my friend, was not listening to what I said, because I said the first rule of benefit reform was not to take money, to take cash off very poor people. And I explained why it cannot be done, and that's what Labour found when they outlined their policies for welfare reform and then had to back off. But the third way is to narrow the gateways into a benefit. And we've seen through PIP particularly, but in other ways as well, that narrowing the gateways is an important aspect of any reform. I hope very much that the government will return to this issue with a well-thought-through plan and manage to carry people with them. The final point I want to make, Madam Deputy Speaker, which was also alluded to in the speech that the seconder made when he spoke about this being a king's speech for young people. I hope that it is. I fear that it isn't. We need to recognise in this House that we are presiding over a period of growing intergenerational inequality. and it's something this House must address, and I hope very much that the point which the seconder of the King's speech made will also inform the decisions that are made now by the government.